What if I told you the real reason most people never build serious wealth has almost nothing to do with saving on lattes? What if that feeling of being stuck, of working harder, but never actually getting anywhere, isn't about your job, your salary, or how well you budget? It's because most of us are caught in a series of invisible traps. They're not in the world around us. They're in our own minds. These are the flawed beliefs and psychological barriers around money that quietly sabotage our dreams long before they have a chance to grow. They are the true gatekeepers of wealth. Today, we're going to drag these traps into the light, one by one. And if someone else gets a big slice, there's less for you. This kind of thinking is fueled by fear and anxiety. It's what makes us hoard what we have, avoid any kind of risk, being more focused on protecting your money than on growing it. We're all taught to save, save, save. It's not a treasure to be buried. It's a tool to be used. They understand that a dollar sitting still is a wasted opportunity. So their main focus isn't on pinching every penny, but on finding smart ways to put their money to work. Studies have shown they tend to be more emotionally stable, which allows them to make decisions with logic, not panic. They understand that failure isn't just possible, it's a part of the journey. They don't see it as a catastrophe. They see it as tuition. They pay the cost of a failed venture to gain a valuable lesson that makes their next one better. They aren't gambling. They're making calculated plays based on research and a long-term vision. Whether it's investing in businesses, stocks, or real estate. Stretched to buy a house they can't really afford and fill their closets with designer brands all on credit. They're financing a performance. But in reality, that performance is the very thing keeping them from ever being wealthy. Every dollar spent on something that loses value to impress a neighbor is a dollar that can be invested in something that grows in value. They're playing a game of social one-upmanship. They brush off solid advice because their gut feeling tells them they know better. Or worse, they live in denial. They are relentlessly curious. A fascinating study of the super-rich found that chasing status and being too proud to learn, but they all point back to one core idea. Unlike most people, they tend to blame themselves for their failures, not outside forces. And by a constant cycle of earning to consume, it's defined by a mindset of growth, disciplined habits, and a relentless focus on leverage. They are playing the game of acquiring assets. They use their money not just to buy things, but as a tool to build systems that create more money, which in turn buys them the only thing that really matters: freedom. They spend their lives working for their money. This gives them the power to find the real root of the problem and fix it. They know that becoming financially smart isn't something you achieve once. It's a continuous process of learning, questioning, and staying humble. It's the beginning of changing the game for yourself. They refuse to even look at their growing credit card debt because it's too painful to admit they made a mistake. Which of these mental traps do you feel you've personally struggled with the most? Drop it in the comments below. Sharing it can be a powerful way to move past it, and we can all learn from each other. Thanks for watching. Then understanding what assets you can actually acquire is the next critical step. I highly recommend you watch my next video on the 7 assets the rich quietly acquire to start building your own path to freedom. They blame the economy, their boss, or bad luck for their problems, instead of looking in the mirror and asking what they could have done differently. You can't learn from a mistake you refuse to own, and it's a game you can never win. They are constantly looking for ways to send their money out to build more. They trust in their ability to create more value. They care about their balance sheet, not what the people next door are driving. They focus on buying assets, things that put money in their pocket, not liabilities that take it out. It's the belief that you already know everything there is to know about money. This is so deadly because it slams the door shut on learning and adapting. Warren Buffett famously still lives in the same house he bought in 1958. Their self-worth comes from there. Independence and freedom, not from what other people think. An accepted one in our society. Believing the only way to make more money is to sell more of your time. We're all taught this path. Get a good job, work hard, put in for overtime. But this links your income directly to the hours you work. So many people spend money they don't have on things they don't truly need to impress people they don't even like. We're wired to compare ourselves to our peers. And this leads to terrible financial decisions. The problem is there are only 24 hours in a day. You have a hard cap on how much you can ever earn, so they aren't afraid to put their capital to work. You get a raise, They look for ways to decouple their earnings from their personal time. They build systems and buy assets that make money for them while they sleep. This is the whole point of passive income. Instead of selling their time, they invest their time up front to build or buy an asset, a business that can run without them, a portfolio of dividend stocks, an apartment building that generates rent. They know that time is the most valuable asset of all, so they use their money to buy back their freedom. But your lifestyle inflates to match it. You work more hours, but your health and relationships suffer. You are so busy working in your life that you never have a moment to work on your life. It's a linear game. 1 hour of work for 1 hour of pay. Saving is a good start, but when it's driven by a deep-seated fear, it becomes a cage. And see life through a lens of I can't. Many of us were raised on this. Their only goal is to build the walls higher and never let a single dollar escape. They'll let huge amounts of cash sit in a bank account, earning next to nothing, because the thought of losing even a little in an investment is just too painful. You simply cannot build significant wealth if you never move beyond the guaranteed safety of a paycheck. I'm not talking about being reckless. I'm talking about taking smart, informed risks where the potential reward is massive compared to the potential loss. This is a cognitive bias called loss aversion, the sting. But potential loss feels way stronger than the pleasure of a potential gain. What if I lose money on that investment? What will my friends and family say? That fear is almost always emotional, not logical. It's why people panic and sell their stocks when the market dips, and then FOMO buy when prices are soaring. This is emotional investing, and it is a guaranteed way to destroy wealth. It paralyzes them into low-risk strategies that don't even beat inflation, which means their money is actually losing its buying power every single day, hearing things like money doesn't grow on trees, or we can afford that. These phrases become the quiet, unconscious narrator of our financial lives. And more importantly, we're going to talk about the powerful mindset shifts that allow the wealthy to sidestep them completely. They believe that value isn't just taken, it can be created. They see the world as a place of endless opportunity, where someone else's success doesn't take away from theirs, it can actually open up new doors for everyone. This isn't just some positive thinking trick. It's a strategic framework that changes how they make decisions, allowing them to spot solutions where everyone else just sees a dead end. This is the foundation for everything that follows. The last one is the most dangerous of all, so you'll want to stick around to see it. It really comes down to two opposing mindsets: scarcity versus abundance. The two mindsets, before we get into the traps themselves, we have to understand a fundamental split in how people see the world. The scarcity mindset is the default for most of us. It's the feeling that there's a limited pie. The wealthy, on the other hand, tend to operate from a place of abundance. The 5 mental traps, treating money like something to hoard. The first and most common trap comes directly from that scarcity thinking. People trapped in scarcity see their savings account as a fortress. The wealthy see money completely differently. The fear of smart risks, this leads right into our second trap, being terrified of failure, especially when it comes to taking calculated risks. Most people are frozen by the fear of failing. The wealthy, in contrast, have a healthier relationship with risk. Trading your time for money, the third trap, is probably the most common. This time for money model is a treadmill. The wealthy escape this trap by obsessing over one word: leverage, chasing social status. The fourth trap is a quiet killer of wealth: the need to look rich instead of actually being rich. It's why people take out huge loans for fancy cars. The truly wealthy, especially those who built it themselves, know the difference. The arrogance of knowing it all, and that brings us to the fifth and final trap, which is maybe the most dangerous: overconfidence. People caught in this trap make reckless, poorly researched bets because they think they've found a secret shortcut no one else sees. The genuinely wealthy are almost always lifelong learners. The real game. So we've looked at these 5 mental traps: hoarding cash, fearing smart risks, trading time for money. Most people fail to get rich because their entire financial life is a game of defense. It's defined by fear, by what other people think. The wealthy succeed because they are playing a completely different game. Their financial life is a game of offense. Recognizing which of these traps you might be in is the most powerful first step you can take. If you're ready to start playing the right game, and before you go, I'd love to hear from you.